Hey there, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I am Shane Snipes, and this is the BMCC Entrepreneurship Degree Program eShip Show. And this week, we're highlighting Global Entrepreneurship Week, or as GEW2018, as it's being referred to on the internet, on Twitter. So follow us there and ask us questions with the hashtag AskTheEntrepreneur. We'll have an ongoing series every few weeks with Ask the Entrepreneur, and we'll be going around and talking to different entrepreneurs at different places, different states of entrepreneurship. Some people may have just started their venture. Other people might be in the process of being in an incubator. So there's all different possibilities there. We look forward to having you on our show. Check out some of our others. Make sure you subscribe to us. We love subscribers because then when we post new stuff, you know about it right away. This is the week that we have right now. We've had these guests, and then on Monday we had a very powerful panel where we talked about marketing and entrepreneurship and how those pieces fit together. Today I'm talking with Glenford Patterson, and we have so much to talk about. I am very excited to get into the weeds with him and talk about his background, talk about the two projects that he's going to highlight with us today, which is the Harlem Tech Village and the Money Club. So we're going to talk about both of those things, and we're also going to reach and have a discussion around some of the content that we have in those different areas. And I think he's going to correct me. I think it's the Money Hub, not the Money Club. Exactly. So it's the Money Hub. Don't worry. I'll give you guys all that information in the description down below. This guy decided he wanted to get some education like me. Like, I can't get enough of it. I keep going, master's, now I'm working on a doctorate. I just can't help myself. Don't forget to send us your questions, because I know he's going to have some great feedback for us and give us tons of information out there. And we look forward to having that as part of our discussion today. So I want to dive right into it with you just because, oh, by the way, Glenford, thanks so much for joining me today.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. This is great.
And I know you had all kinds of stuff going on today, so I really, really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us for a little while and share your insights and talk about your projects and let other people know how they can be involved with the things that you're doing, or even get inspired by what you're doing.
Oh, sure.
So first thing I want to say is, you're like me. Like, I love school. I love education. I don't know why, because sometimes it feels like a little bit like torture. But what I take away from it is, every time I go to school, every time I take a course online, every time I learn something new, I feel like I can apply it to wherever I am.
Is that on my side or your side? Hello?
No, your side. So what's your motivation from where, as far as like, what was your motivator behind getting your education?
Well, as you said, it was about learning new things. For me, it was learning new things. At the time, it was, how do I participate in an environment where knowledge is there? And how do I learn from other people? And it was all about learning new things. Actually, I think after my undergrad, it was basically going to work and realize that I didn't know much. I tell myself I had to learn more. And the way to learn more, at least for me at the time, was let's go back to school. Let's go back to school and participate in the environment where people are learning, doing great things. And that gave me the impetus to try new things and embrace new things and move on.
Yeah, that is so true. I feel like one of the main reasons why education keeps coming back for me is, in this day and age, you have to constantly learn new things here and there, learn something else, gather some more knowledge, gather this, gather that. And it really builds on itself. So if you do keep up with it, it's pretty much easier to stay relevant longer, is what I'm finding.
Yes, yes, yes. And even the things you do learning wise, that while you're not in school is quite important. I try to read a lot about, especially now, entrepreneurship, investment, what is going on in the ecosystem in terms of tech entrepreneurs, what is going on in the ecosystem in terms of people who are building things, investors. So that continuous learning, I read a lot of blogs from different people that we know in the ecosystem. So that continuous learning helps us to get better and grow as we go through this process.
Tell us a little bit about your story. I love getting people's early story of, being in New York and coming here and going to school and what that really felt like for you back then.
I think for me, at least, in certain cases, I was out of place. In certain cases, as you probably know, and you probably pointed it out, I was actually born in Jamaica. So being here in the U.S. and decided to go to school and embrace school was at the beginning a little bit out of place. And I said this to some of my students in class. I was lucky enough that I had great classmates who were actually US born. So they taught me a lot about what the ecosystem looks like and how to embrace and understand certain things. So that was a benefit for me. And I try to encourage my students to look at it that way. Basically, use your classmates to understand the ecosystem a little bit better. So that was good. And that made it a lot easier for me as I went through school. My classmates, they were great people. They helped. They basically understood where I was coming from, and it's funny because when I was actually in undergrad, I really wanted to be an entrepreneur, but there was no outlet for being an entrepreneur. The idea about entrepreneurship, at least in my ecosystem, was a bad thing. Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Are you lazy? Are you? So I said, okay, fine. I won't be an entrepreneur. I will find a job and I would basically work. But as I kept doing it, it was, at least for me, an opportunity to explore different things. And I'm not even sure why I went back to school for my second and third degree. It was more because I wasn't sure if entrepreneurship was for me, even though I started. I still had some doubt, to be honest with you. But as I went in it, I found out that every time I took this leap, I learned more and actually went into a space that that most people, 1% of the population, actually looked at. So I think that was at least the driving forces for me initially. But I think as I went through it, I started understanding clearly that this is helping me getting better and understand more of what I'm actually doing.
Yeah, and I'll echo a little bit of what you said too, in the sense that when you're thinking about these things like entrepreneurship, like what does this entrepreneurship mean to me? We're now living in a time when entrepreneurship is actually championed. Like people look to entrepreneurs almost as leaders nowadays. It used to be when I was in school, but the catchphrases were like leadership and developing leadership skills and being a leader, and everything was about that. Now it's more about entrepreneurship because we have this wide open canvas of the internet. And it's not just that I get to develop an app on the internet, but I actually get to present whatever product or service I have on the internet in whatever format I'm looking. Maybe it's on Instagram, I'll start promoting it. Maybe it's in Indiegogo and I'll crowdfund it. So there are all these different ways that individuals can take those really creative ideas and run with them. I also wanted to talk about the fact that you and I are both like in the CUNY family.
Yes. So I got into the CUNY family mainly because someone asked. I was basically told that there was an opportunity to teach, and I thought about teaching somewhat. And as I got in there, I really enjoyed it. The students, I must admit, it's just great to be among students that really want to learn. Like they're trying to figure this out. What is it that we're doing? How do we do it? We want to do it. So at least for the motivation for me being there and staying there, I would say 95% are the students. Like they just keep coming back. I could just keep coming back because they want to do it. They embrace it. They like it. So I enjoy it from that perspective. And I think overall, when we think about the CUNY family, it's a big family. And we understand how do we network among each other, talk to each other, and then allow the students to network as well.
So talk to me a little bit about what you feel are the opportunities in your CUNY world that you have? You know, we're all, like you said, we're a CUNY family, but then we have these little, like, you know, offshoots. It feels like sometimes where, you know, City is over here, Baruch is over here, Hunter is over here. And so you have all the different things. What do you feel like you guys bring to the table?
You know, well, I think City College is unique in itself in that it has some really, really great division. As you probably know, there's a wonderful engineering school, architecture school, economics business department. And I think at least for me, given that there's this really, really, I would say, important cross-section in terms of technology, having an engineering school and a computer science school in the same place, I personally believe could actually drive the impetus for students to think about how do we build things and collaborate better, given that there's also a economics business department close by. So I think that collaboration, at least for City College, and then we could partner with schools like BMCC and Baruch to see how do we broaden the scope of our collaboration. I know it's easier said than done because there's always this, you know, oh, this is me and nobody comes in. But I think it would be unique to see how do we broaden how do we broaden it. But the unique proposition, at least for City College, is that there is this collaboration that can take place between computer science, engineering, and business department. So this collaboration can take place. And in some cases, I've actually tried, but as I said, there's still, you know, people are still looking to see if this actually will work.
Yeah, and the models are there, right? Everyone's talking about how I just got back from a community college entrepreneurship conference recently, and the most successful community colleges are the ones that make their different departments, not make them work together, but facilitate them working together to get the students through with as many kind of interdisciplinary, but also other types of activities and ways that they can connect to the community and connect to employers and connect to all kinds of pieces in there. And I feel like one of the things that entrepreneurship can become, especially here at BMCC, is kind of the glue, a sticky place for people to come and connect to us. Like if City wants to come and work with us, then that's really easy because we're ready and willing through the entrepreneurship program to plug you into all these other places inside of BMCC. And these kind of places kind of have to be built around this entrepreneurial thinking, right? Yes. Academia is not particularly entrepreneurial.
Right, that is true.
Now, it's very innovative. Academia is innovative, but entrepreneurship is you have the innovation, but then you do something with it other than just put it out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that is why it's so unique, because when you look at the things that are coming out from the engineering department, you go and you see what they're building. If the entrepreneurship piece of it could help to commercialize some of these pieces, we could have some base, and we see, like you said, there's the benchmark around, we see it in different institutions around the country, and there's no reason why it couldn't happen in the CUNY family as well.
Yeah, and NYU is a perfect example just because Absolutely. They do have so much money. So they've thrown so much money at it now they have this interdisciplinary thing because there was enough money that everyone started going, huh? What? There's how much? Right? So that's kind of the way they did it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really interesting. But from the students' perspective and for folks who are watching this show, I want them to understand that there are all these different pieces and parts that they can fit into. There's like CUNY I-Core, which is where there's funding that's there and waiting for you to find your customer. And then there's these other CUNY components. We actually have a tool to help you crowdsource ideas. And most people don't even know it exists, called IdeaGist. And it's, you know, CUNY people can use that and log into that and connect to people from all around the world.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that is the, again, that is the reason why it makes such a big sense, because we have this broad ecosystem that we can pull from. from all over New York. We have this broad ecosystem. So I think if we just find a way to have a conversation about where do we pull from and what does it work? Because again, I go back to my to working. For me to keep close to the entrepreneurship space when I was younger, I actually worked in the banking system. I was a business banker because I just liked that idea of working with small to medium-sized enterprises. As it got more into the 2000, 2001, and we start seeing all these tech companies come about, started asking myself, what makes the difference between these companies and what we consider small to medium-sized enterprise? And there was some clear indication, right? These are technology-driven companies, but they were still businesses, and they still needed unique things that you and I bring to the table. Economy of scale, all these things that we bring to the table, and we can have conversation about them. So I said, as you said, now fast forward to today, and it has come full circle where we see that technology cannot survive without business, and vice versa. Then I think it's a way for us to look inside the university and say, okay, how do we use what we have? Basically, like you said, the CUNY system might not have a lot of money, but we can basically bootstrap some of these projects if we're allowed to just, as you said, just allow us to be more entrepreneurial thinking. We can bootstrap these projects.
Yeah, and we both talk a lot about and work a lot in ecosystems. You know, your project specifically, you know, the Harlem Tech Village, and the way that you facilitate things through that project. Anytime that you're trying to pull a bunch of pieces together, that when you are looking at the pieces, you might not see the relationship. You know, you're doing your ecosystem building, you're pulling the parts together. There's so many resources inside of CUNY. And for me, I'm in the process of trying to build a visible pathways for students so that they see, oh, my idea is tech focused, so why don't I take these 5 steps and go over here and get this type of funding? Oh, mine is more based on food, so why don't I go over here to Brooklyn and use this food incubator, right, and use its space so that I can test market my food and figure out. So there are all these places in New York City that students can plug into to take their idea to the next level.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We should probably talk more about that.
Yeah, well, let's talk for a second about the Harlem Tech Village, because I want people to get a handle on, you know, one of the projects that you're working on and how you're working with various different people to make this village happen.
Right. So one of the reasons why I came up with the idea and being supported by a good friend of mine, Carrie Wright, and it was, so I first did a summit in Harlem called Harlem Tech Summit, and it was the first one in that ecosystem, basically focus on tech. Because there were others that was focused on infrastructure, but this one was focused on bringing technology. Fortunate for us, we had some really, really, really great speakers that came by. And after we kind of started asking ourselves, okay, why do we do this? What is the goal? What is the ongoing thing? And we wanted to get the community involved. We wanted to kind of figure out, how do we take young people all the way from the beginning with their own passion, purpose, get into technology, and then beyond technology. So that was the idea for Harlem Tech Village. We said, what if we create this village, and in it, we'll have 3 different spaces. One, at the very early stage, elementary, high school students, we work with them at their passion. Basically, whatever they like, soccer, football, you name it. We will basically music, we will integrate some pop-up stores, bringing companies that basically are in that verticals, and have the student work in that space. So that will be the first space, and that's what we're working on right now through some partnership. And then the second space will be an incubator, where we're going to take early stage companies and incubate them for 9 months, 8 to 9 months, help them, just like we do in school, help them understand what it's like to build a company, what they need to build it, all these things, walk them through the process. Within the 9 months, our goal is to find a pipeline for them, get them to other incubator or accelerator, potentially Techstars, ERA, all these other accelerators that exist throughout New York and beyond New York. Figure out how to get a pipeline for some of these companies getting in. And then the third and the final piece of it is to create a venture fund that would actually help these companies invest in these companies long term. So that is the goal. And again, this is a long-term viewpoint that we have. But that's the cycle. That's the cycle. Beginning at the starts, a partner with companies like Nike, Google, Spotify to come in and just have these wonderful pop-up stores that can display to kids, and partner with other organizations as well that can display to kids how do they use technology at their passion. Doesn't matter what it is, music, you name it, at their music. Because what we found basically is that there are students who basically don't like technology for technology's sake. But if you say to them, you know, you could actually use music as a means to get into technology, then they're like, oh, wow, they're excited. So if we can use those things to get them to look at technology from a different way, then, and like I said, we're partnering with our people to explore these things. And as we go through that process, we're saying, okay, here's an incubator. So students are coming out of BMCC, Baruch, City College. They're not sure what to do afterwards with their projects. So we're saying, yeah, come to us. We will help you with your project. We will probably take the best 10, 15 projects and help them really well, mentor, create a nice network of mentors, help them all the way until they're ready. And we say, okay, fine. Let's get you into, and we'll provide some seed funding, get them to the next stage, which will be either they launch it and they go, or they probably ready for an incubator or accelerator, more likely an accelerator program that we know of. That's the goal. And then the last piece is to have this basic, not a very big fund, just a small fund, just to basically invest in some of these companies as they come out, to kind of give them the momentum to go forward. So that's what we're working on with the Harlem Tech Village.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, I mean, just because I've met Mohammed Faisal before. He actually spoke at an event that I pulled together with a group of volunteers. The Kaufman Foundation has this monthly event called 1 Million Cups. And so it's coming to pitch and not pitch, but talk about their company. This is the current state of my business. It's more like you're presenting a current state of your business. You only have 6-7 minutes to do that. And then people talk to you about it. They're like, well, have you tried this? Have you looked at that? Have you tried this? What about this? And are you currently looking for these types of things? And they really kind of work through it. And you're there with other founders and investors and other folks like that. So it's a really interesting format. It's very Midwestern in some senses, because New Yorkers are about where's the money, right? So they're like coming in, want everything that you go to, like entrepreneurial is like pitch, score. What's the score? Pitch. And we are like, no, well, let's make this more like a home for entrepreneurs so they can come and support each other. And I felt like that was a big hole in the ecosystem. And not only that, happens in the morning. So that's another big hole. So Mohammed was there, and he's from the Money Hub, HUB, not Money Club. So he's there from the Money Hub, and he talked about his product and his app, his technology. And I was very excited about what he had done and how far he had come with it. Talk to me a little bit about how you've seen it evolve from the advisor perspective.
Right. So it's funny because we started, that's a classroom project, by the way. He was in one of my class, and he came to me, one of my classes, and he came to me and he said, Professor, I have this idea. I want to solve this problem. Lots of people my age and younger, we never get educated on this financial literacy. It's really a big problem. And I said, yeah, that's true. That's always a problem, quite frankly. We kept talking about it, and I said, okay, why don't you just start the basic things? It's a classroom project. Just let's see what it evolves into. And he kept working on it, and he came back, we said, okay, let's create a very simple website. What you see today is the second generation, third generation website. We just built an MVP. It was really dirty, one-page thing. And when he was about to leave school, he came back to me and said, Professor, I would really like to continue this thing afterwards. We'd like to be my co-founder. And I said to him, I won't do the work. If you're willing to do the work, I'll be your co-founder. And he laughed. But he came back to me about 3 months later and said, Professor, I'm actually serious. And he said, you're serious? And I explained to him it's a lot of work. I said, entrepreneurship is a great thing. I love it, but it's a lot of work. If you're willing to learn, I will teach you. And I allowed him to make the mistakes. I said, it's your project. I'm your co-founder. I'm your advisor, but it's your project. And you build a team. He came, so we'll talk. We used to talk once a day. Now we talk probably once a week, once every 2 weeks. But it was this process where I just encouraged him, and I gave him a lot of materials to read, all the books, to read, just so that you understood basically what is this entrepreneurship thing, how it works. And primarily, as we went through basically building the MVP, iterating around the process, we started out doing the first workshop inside of this room with about 5 people. And I said to him, okay, no, that's okay. This is what we call an MVP. It's a minimum viable product. This is your first thing you're doing. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just learn. The good thing now is to learn from this. Make sure that we learn, understand what it is. And as we went through the process and learn, we keep talking about it. And one of the things we found out was most of the students kept saying, oh, can we use technology? And I said, oh, you see, this is what we're learning. Technology has to be a leader in this. So we went out and basically he said to me, how do we build an app with no money? People say that we need like $20,000. And I said, oh, wonderful. Now you learn how to bootstrap. So I had some friends who basically understood the process. We kind of pulled together and we built an app for free, basically. We just pulled friends in. One of the guys that was working, Justin, came on board and he built the app. And then we had other friends in the ecosystem that helped us and showed us the wireframe. And we basically built the whole thing. And now we just keep updating it. And this is what you see. So it's what we mentioned before. Is if we're willing to be creative within the CUNY family, we can get a lot done with unlimited resources. It's just being creative. So that's basically what we did. And it was, I just wanted to show them that we don't have to have a lot of money to get these things done. If we're really creative and pull on our network and our resources, we can get these things done. And basically that's
so true. And not only that, what you're saying is true for every entrepreneur. It doesn't matter whether it was Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates or, Oprah Winfrey, any of those people all started with exactly the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oprah Winfrey started by being a news correspondent, and all she was doing was like out in the field and reporting on X or Y story. And she honed her craft and she worked on the things that she did, but she always had this vision for like a positive type of media. And so she created it. It's that kind of beautiful thing that happens. It's Absolutely. Not like people have all these resources at their fingertips and they just go, I need $50,000. Oh, okay, here's $50,000. It just never happens that way, ever.
Right. So the project has come really well. We're working with, I would say, 10 different organizations now. So we onboard, we have all these organizations that we're working with, primarily basically Boys and Girls Club. We just got introduced to the Boys and Girls Club. We started out with Big Brother Soul. We worked with Boys and Girls Club in Queens. We just got introduced to Boys and Girls Club in Harlem. So lots of different organizations within the New York region that we're working with at the moment. And then people want to use our app and we'll say, yeah, sure, you can use our app. We'd love to partner with you. Because I think one of the things I said to Mohammed was basically, don't view the people who want to work us as competitors. We're a nonprofit organization and we're trying to solve a problem. The day when you start a for-profit company, then we will view them as competitors. But for now, let's share, let's collaborate, because the problem you want to solve is so big. If we can share, if we can collaborate, if we can partner, then it's fine.
Yeah. And when you have an app, once you develop a tool like that, there are plenty of other organizations that might be doing other finance workshops, right? That could use your app as a support mechanism, as a support tool. So everyone can win.
Yes. Yeah. We're in the stage to build, I can't give away the secret, but we're in the stage to build 2.0 version. So we're working on 2.0 version of the app.
You gotta have secrets. Otherwise, you don't create enough buzz and people don't want your product.
Right. Yeah. So it's great. I think that was one of the test case for me, at least for City College, because I'm used to working with students outside of the CUNY family, and you see what they can do, because like you said, there's either their school have resources, their parents have resources, or things like that. So it was really great to basically look at a founder from City College and say, this can be done. Look at him, he can do it. He has learned so much, grown so much in understanding how to reach out across the ecosystem and talk to people. And he'll be going, for example, you might be going to speak to someone, and he said, and he would ask me, say, Glenn, do you want to come? Can you come? And I said, no, go by yourself. Because I think sometimes when I go, the emphasis removes from him and get to me. And I said, no, you go. Just go. Whatever happens, just go. Just and learn as much as you can. And I keep emphasizing that. Keep telling him, learn as much as you can. Learn as much as you can from the process. Because I'm still learning. Like I go to places and I see so many things and I learn from it. And I said, wow, this is so and again, this is what we, so we know that entrepreneurship, at least in the beginning, is a open-minded discovery process. You are constantly learning. It's discovery, because everything that we basically are doing is an assumption. Everything is assumption. Even ourselves, we might think that we can do something, but we were surprised what we can actually do. So even ourselves is an assumption that we can do this. So if we go into the process with this open-minded discovery process, we will learn so much. I see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially today, and they call me a lot. I'm actually deciding that I'm going to start this Saturday or Sunday morning thing where I just go meet with entrepreneurs for an hour and talk to them, because so many people reach out to me and I just don't have the time anymore. But I keep reminding them that forget about the hype. We can talk about all these hype, and every time there's an AI, there's a blockchain. I said, forget about the hype. Really, any assumption that you have just leaves an assumption. Your user, you must talk to them continuously. Be open to discovery, to basically learn, to talk to them, to talk to your users, use it open-ended questions, constantly learn from them. And if AI becomes a part of it, fine. But this, stop onboarding buzzword just for buzzword's sake. Build a good company and people will come.
Yeah, it's so true. I just met through one of the programs at New School has a design process, the eLab. I was just there yesterday for their demo days. And there's this app that was developed by these two guys there. And it's just like less than a year now. And it's called Unfold. And they launched it on Product Hunt. And now they have like a 1 point something million users of this app. Equinox wants to work with them. And all it really is templates that people can use to create their Instagram stories. But it's a templated based system, and it makes it super simple for them to do it. Yeah, and they came up with this thing. It was workshopped through this process there at New School, and this is where it is. A bunch of the other demos were also really good too, and totally different. They're all in very different areas. That's what I found so fascinating about this particular demo day, is they didn't all fall into one category.
That's
and
great.
I love that.
Yes.
And I tell my students that too. I said, just because you don't have an idea right now, it doesn't mean you're not going to have an idea, or that something's not going to come to you.
Yes.
It's more important that you get your mind around a way of thinking about things, a way of thinking about sorting information, understanding things, and dissecting, pulling things apart and saying, what does this word opportunity really mean? How do I view that? How do I see it? And it's not easy sometimes. Some people have a natural talent, others don't.
Others don't. I remember when basically, because we started the Entrepreneurship Club at City College about 4 years ago with some of the students. Because we said, let's just start entrepreneur. We work on it. And there are students that are working on things, and I would go there and I said to them, don't worry about the idea that you're going to fail. Just worry about the mindset that you're creating. What does opportunity look like? Can you actually solve the problem? All these things, because I strongly believe that if they can get to the point where they actually believe this, they'll become really, really great entrepreneurs. Yeah.
It is. You got to get to that place where you're like, okay, that didn't work, but it didn't work. Okay, let me. your mind's gonna blow. Your mind's gonna blow up anyway. You and I are like that, Glenford. When you and I, if we were to sit down and talk, our minds would blow up, right? Because there's so many different dimensions to how we see the world. And my students are like, how do you pull something apart so quickly? And I said, well, I got 2 decades of time on you.
right. You have some time to catch us. Yeah.
of failure.
Right.
I always say that, and or learning from what I've done, and you just have to look at every opportunity like that too.
Yeah.
So to close out, I'd love for you to share with us who's your hero and inspiration as an entrepreneur. And along with that, what are some things you'd recommend that people read and check out?
Oh, wow. So I think to be honest with you, I think I can only talk about the guys that we know. I've seen Bill Gates for years, and Steve Jobs, God rest his soul, what they have done, and then fast forward to the 2000 era of entrepreneurs. And I must admit, it's been fascinating looking at these people, just trying to dissect how, and at least for me, some people want to meet basketball players, football players. I don't mind that, but I would love to have the opportunity to like sit down with Bill Gates for even an hour just to say, walk me through, how this works with you, because you kind of believe that it was so far removed from you when I was younger. And then I'm realizing that, oh my God, it's so close to me now. I would love to actually get the opportunity to sit with someone like this and talk with them for like 10, 15 minutes. And same thing with Silicon Valley. So when we look at, especially Y Combinator, I think sometimes, again, the same thing. It has this close feeling behind it. Everything has to be, can you get in? And I think I would love for them to just open it up more and say, come on in. I think it's this, can you get in? So it has this Ivy League feel to it, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing against Ivy League school. I'm just saying.
You did go to Columbia.
Right. But it's just, but they have this thing to it. And I think sometimes even for my students, they have this way that they don't believe that it exists. I remember I had a class in entrepreneurship, and basically I had this startup class, and I invited lots of different speaker. Joan Wilson was kind enough to come by the class, and she spoke. And I think one of the things why people liked her so much was the fact that she was just so down to earth. She was just so inviting. And I think lots of people were inside the room, and they couldn't understand that she's this person that people talk about, because she was so inviting. I think I would love to see that from some of the Y Combinator, some of these places, just to become a little bit more inviting. I think these people they've built this thing, and they put it on this pedestal, so people think it's so far to reach, and young people find it very hard to aspire to, especially if you're minorities, because they see it as this thing that is so far to their reach. So I hope that one day we get to a point where we can actually just like become a little bit more inviting. Like, yeah, so I am Sam, so it's okay. You can come on over and talk to me. So for me, it's the Bill Gates. Like, I would love to sit down and just talk to him for 15 minutes about, not about how he became a billionaire, but how he built Microsoft. What went into, what are some of the things that you actually went through, because we know it's not easy. Now we look at it and understand that that is not easy, building that. The second thing I would like to point out, and because you and I teach at CUNY Family, and CUNY Family is such a large minority group, I think for minorities, and we talk about failure, I think they resonate failure as something bad. And that is the reason why most of them don't try the entrepreneurship world. And sometimes I try to coin the phrase differently in my class, not failure, but learning, because I'm trying to let them get over this concept that they're going to fail and failure is bad, because that's what we've been told for so long in the minority community. So we have to kind of reassure them that, no, we're not saying you're going to fail. We're just saying that use the opportunity to learn, so you must try. So I think that's one of the things I would point out to people, basically. And the second thing is, at least the third, get out of the comfort zone. If you can actually go to San Francisco and try to spend some time with some of these people, they should. And I'm happy that New York is actually, even some people is against this Amazon thing coming, but I'm happy to see New York growing in that space as well. So at least we can have the conversation in New York. But I would just really like to see some of the tech companies try to basically not necessarily, because I don't want to use this buzzword about diversity and hiring. I'm
Oh, you, Glenn.
hello.
Are you there? I think the signal is coming and going a little bit.
Oh, I think I got cut off somewhere. This last word. Hello.
Yeah, you're coming and going, but you ended on a great point.
Yes, I did. I did. I did. I did.
Yeah, you
Oh,
actually, that was like the perfect. I was like, well, he actually, if he's gone, this is perfect because you ended on an amazing point. I
well, thank
really
you
do
so much for
appreciate.
having me.
Yeah, it was really good to have you, and it's been a pleasure to be in your presence and have conversations with you and explore ways that maybe the CUNY family can come together. That was an unexpected discovery as we were able to book you, and I knew we were be able to talk about those things too. So, thanks again. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
All right, Tom.
Okay, bye.
So everyone, thanks so much today for tuning in to the eShip Show. It's always a pleasure to cover these types of topics with you. And I just want to cover with you just a couple more things just so you get a handle on just how amazing it can be here in New York City to create a company and to build things from scratch. You heard from Glenford that it really is possible, and he works with students, and we work with students too here at BMCC to make sure that they have the resources that they need. So I want you to always feel comfortable coming to me, talking to me online, reaching out to me on LinkedIn or other places. And I welcome that chance to do that. Thanks again, Glenford, for being here today. Check out the Harlem Tech Village if you're living in Uptown or you just happen to be visiting up there. Also check out the Money Hub, one of the projects where he's helped co-found an organization with a student that's there at City College. And then thanks again to BMCC and the Borough Manhattan Community College, the business department here. The Small Business Entrepreneurship Program really is that place where you can spend 2 years, get an actual college degree, and learn how to start your business. We'd love to work with you. We'd love to work with you in conjunction with all different types of majors, from music to art to health to you name it. We have all kinds of folks in our program now. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.